Chapter 1 Scenario. From one of the peaks of the Serra dos Orgulhos, a thread of water slides down and heads north. Swollen by the springs it gathers along its 10-league course, it becomes a mighty river. This is the Paquequer. Leaping from cascade to cascade, twisting like a serpent, it then stretches out lazily across the plain and empties into the Paraíba, which rolls majestically in its vast bed. One might say that, as a vassal and tributary of this king of waters, the small river, haughty and defiant against the rocks, humbly bows at the feet of its suzerain. It then loses its wild beauty, its waves become calm and serene like those of a lake, and no longer rebel against the boats and canoes that glide upon them. Like a submissive slave, it endures the lash of its master. It is not in this place that the river should be seen, but rather 3 or 4 leagues above its mouth, where it is still free, like the untamed son of this homeland of liberty. There, the Paquequer rushes swiftly along its bed, crossing the forests like a tapir, foaming, leaving strands of its hair scattered on the tips of the rocks, and filling the solitude with the thunder of its course. Suddenly, space fails it, the earth slips away. The proud river draws back for a moment to gather its strength, then hurls itself forward in a single leap, like a tiger upon its prey. Afterward, exhausted from the supreme effort, it stretches out upon the earth and falls asleep in a beautiful basin that nature has formed, receiving it as in a bridal bed, beneath curtains of climbing vines and wild flowers. The vegetation in these regions once displayed all its luxury and vigor. Virgin forests stretched along the banks of the river, which flowed through arches of greenery and capitals formed by the fans of palm trees. Everything was grand and majestic in the setting that nature, that sublime artist, had decorated for the majestic dramas of the elements, in which man was but a simple extra. In the year of grace 1604, the place we have just described was deserted and uncultivated. The city of Rio de Janeiro had been founded less than half a century earlier, and civilization had not yet had time to penetrate the interior. Nevertheless, on the right bank of the river stood a large and spacious house, built upon an eminence and protected on all sides by a wall of rock cut sheer. The esplanade on which the building stood formed an irregular semicircle of about 50 square bracas. On the northern side, there was a kind of stone staircase, half made by nature and half by human hands. Descending 2 or 3 of the wide stone steps, one reached a solidly built wooden bridge spanning a wide and deep fissure in the rock. Continuing downward, one arrived at the edge of the river, which curved into a graceful bay, shaded by large gamelleras and angelins that grew along the banks. Here, too, human industry had skillfully taken advantage of nature to create means of security and defense. On either side of the staircase ran 2 rows of trees, which gradually widened and closed like 2 arms around the river's bosom. Between the trunks of these trees, a high fence of thorny bushes made that small valley impenetrable. The house was built in the simple and rustic architecture still seen in our primitive dwellings. It had 5 windows in front, low, wide, and almost square. On the right side was the main door of the building, opening onto a courtyard enclosed by a stockade covered with wild melons. On the left side, an extension of the building stretched to the edge of the esplanade, with 2 windows overlooking the rocky chasm. The inner chambers were of the same taste, without the heraldic decorations. In the wing of the building, however, the aspect changed suddenly and was replaced by something capricious and delicate that revealed the presence of a woman. Indeed, nothing could be more charming than that alcove, where silk brocades mingled with the beautiful feathers of our birds, entwined in garlands and festoons along the edge of the ceiling, and the canopy of a bed placed upon a carpet of wild animal skins. In one corner hung an alabaster crucifix from the wall, with a gilded wooden stool at its feet. Not far away, on a chest of drawers, lay one of those Spanish guitars that the gypsies introduced to Brazil when they were expelled from Portugal, along with a collection of mineral curiosities of delicate colors and strange shapes. Next to the window was a piece of furniture that could not be defined at first glance. It was a kind of bed or sofa made of straw dyed in various colors and interwoven with black and scarlet feathers. A stuffed great egret, about to take flight, held with its beak a blue taffeta curtain that it opened with the tips of its white wings. Falling over the door, it veiled this nest of innocence from profane eyes. All of this breathed a soft aroma of benzoin, which had impregnated the objects with its natural perfume, or like the atmosphere of paradise inhabited by a fairy.